Is that,
One of the things.
you got it in there, because I need to sign that too.
And here I
Okay,
am.
we
You
have,
okay?
we have everyone
Yeah.
here today, so starting with Laura, could we go around the table and just identify ourselves and our library system and our county?
Sure, Laura Goodman, Washington County, Greenwich Free Library.
Barbara Taylor, Hamilton County, CVW Long Lake Library.
Jordan Hornstein, Hamilton County, and the same library.
Janet Lindner, Saratoga County, Saratoga Springs Library.
Carol Kerr, Washington County, Argyle.
Margaret Shapiro, Warren County, Crandall Public Library.
Bob Jeffords, sales treasurer.
Russ Wise, Clifton Park Half Moon, Saratoga County.
Elaine Cowan, Warren County, Richards Library in Warrensburg.
Sue Beck, Warren County, SALS.
Chris Connell, Waterford Public Library.
And Nancy? Nancy is here?
Yep. Nancy Sipes, Lake Pleasant Library, Hamilton County.
And Linda Borden is excused. And I'm Sarah Dallas, welcome. We've got cookies, we've got tea, we've got coffee, we have water, we have seltzer, and it's so good to see everybody. Thank you.
Okay, I only have one announcement, and that is if you look at your new business, item 8, and just pencil out or delete for consideration today, the Whitehall Free Library. Are there any other announcements? Any other board comments? Okay, I don't see any members of the public here, so there's no public comment. The first thing we have is the minutes of the meeting of October 18th. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions that you've noticed? Okay, seeing none, we'll go under our new format and just simply have those. It's also been recorded. We'll have those files in our archives. All right, treasurer's report, Bob.
Treasurer's report for October, we started off the month with $2,795,000. Nothing out of the ordinary as far as income coming in, just fees, a little bit of interest, and then all of the reimbursements that we get from the joint automation project. The total receipts were $100,514, and we dispersed $317,216. And that gave us a balance at the end of the month of $2,578,291. One item of note, if you look down under reconciliation of balance, finally, interest rates have gone up enough so that I took money out of our money market, which was getting less than 1%, and put it into 3 different CDs. They're each for $500,000. One is for 90 days, one is for 180 days, and one is for 364 days. And they're at 1.65, 1.90, and 2.25, which will end up with $18,469 in interest from those 3. And when, for instance, when the 90-day matures, which is in January, I'll probably roll that over, and I'm anticipating that the rate will be a little bit higher at that point. So that's the end of my report, and the warrants were in your packets for you to look at your leisure.
Okay, any questions, comments for Bob? It's always nice to have a positive balanced report, and that sounds like a very smart move of the CTs. Okay, and again, under our revised procedures, we will also file the treasurer's report as well. Okay, director's report, Sarah.
Hello. Okay. I said the first thing on my report is please fill out the mileage forms. I appreciate that. So in our budget that was passed last month, October, we're only in November. There was $50,000 for the trust trustees construction challenge grant. And that's money that we send out an application and libraries can apply for up to $5,000 for a construction project that's smaller than something for the state or something that is not fundable through the state. I shared the application earlier, actually Pamela shared the application earlier with Christine, who's the chair of the Buildings Committee, and Russ as president. They made some little tweaks, and with your approval, we're going to send it out after this meeting today or tomorrow morning. And what it is that these applications will come back to SALS in April of 2023, and the buildings committee will meet before the SALS board to review them and make their recommendations to the full SALS board. So that would happen in April. And the final reports for this round of challenge grants will be April 1st, 2024. So,
Is there any objection to those forms going out? Okay, I don't think we need a motion for that.
no, we just wanted the board to know that we're
Right.
sending out the applications. Emily Drabinsky, who is the ALA president-elect, and I did a mini tour of the SALS libraries, and it was fabulous. We went to Crandall, we went to Bolton Landing, Argyle, Greenwich, and Easton, because she's from Brooklyn, and she wasn't really quite sure what a rural library looks like. She was wowed. She was wowed. And each library director and staff spoke about the role of the library in their community and some of the unique programs that they provide and the support the community gives back to the library. I haven't been in Argyle in a while, and oh my goodness.
It's a new place, and Faith had a great time with your visit. So
Oh, wonderful. We learned that the peaches were not well received in any of the libraries, because we went to a lot of the libraries that do the food.
Farm to table, or farm to library.
Farm to libraries, and the peaches were not hits. In Crandall, it was bare, except for the two peaches.
So which were the four you visited? Argyle, Crandall?
We went to Crandall first, Bolton, Argyle, Greenwich, and Easton. We had planned to do more, but as Emily was looking at her schedule, the time frame, so she pretty much came in late on Tuesday, and she was here less than 24 hours.
Oh,
I had to
wow.
get her back to the train station, and just driving to Long Lake. I really wanted her to see Long Lake. I wanted her to get a real feel for each of the counties. We just ran out of time. We had to do it like a circle. And thank you to Pamela. She got out her Google Maps and she said, you can do this. She even told us when we could eat lunch. Thank you, Pamela. And Emily said, I want a Pamela in my life. And I said, no, she's SALS.
It sounds like a representative sample of the
Yeah,
region.
we tried, but I mean, we could have spent the whole time just driving. But you got an idea of how many libraries, because as I was going up the north way, I said, we've got a library in Mechanicsville, we have a library in Stillwater, we have a library in Warrensburg, we have a library in Johnsburg. And she got the idea, and then she got the idea about the miles the delivery van would take. She really had a good feel for our network, our community, and the care. And I haven't been to Argyle in a while. And the director, they changed it. She has a graphic. This is another thing I learned. Faith has a graphic background.
graphic artist, yeah.
And the library is like a graphic novel. The way she rearranged the children's books, she just rearranged the whole library, and I thought, how is this the same space? And that brings me to another thing that perhaps, maybe not during the snow season, but we could do tours. We could do tours so that you could get a feel of our libraries and what they're doing and how each one provides library services, but they really reflect the community that they're in. It was fabulous. It was just absolutely fabulous. And I also realized that there's an 85% turnover in library directors from when I started. So the library of today is very different than the library 20 years ago, for all sorts of reasons. And that was pretty exciting. So I was
So
able.
Sarah, I don't know if you can hear me. This is Linda Borden.
Hi, Linda. We.
Sarah, can you hear me? Hi, I just wanted to say what a really wonderful opportunity it was that you provided for her and for us both to meet her and for her to see what rural libraries look like. There's nothing like a field trip to really explain that. So it was a very well done a field trip for her. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the apple cider. She really enjoyed it. She packed it and she took it on the train downstate. So what?
Good.
Linda, did I interrupt you?
No, I'm on my cell phone. It's the first time, so I'm just having a little trouble with the technical aspect. Thank you. I'm done.
All right. So these were the highlights besides me gushing about how wonderful it was. One, that new directors are looking at library services and the library space with all new eyes. And it's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We got to see what the New York State construction grant funds have done in the libraries. We didn't go to Waterford, but that library has been rebuilt with New York State construction funds. So that would be interesting to see how. The Bolton Library has a mixture of state and SALS construction grants. And if you've not gone to the Bolton Library, you really need to. I describe that library as the TARDIS. You come up to the front and it's this cute little porch thing. And then you just keep on going back and back and back. And it's a beautiful craftsman style library. Oh, it's just fabulous. Oh, and did I say that Lake George is like outside their back window? So that was pretty, with no obstruction. It's like a park. So fun.
I remember when the first time I discovered the Johnsburg Library by accident. My husband had a court appearance there, and I needed a bathroom, so I always rely on. You can't go wrong at the library, so I went into the library, and of course, Johnsburg is the place where Teddy Roosevelt came out of the woods
Right.
to catch the train to become president. And they have a room like the Roosevelt room, and they had these huge windows in this. I was just blown away. I think you've used the same expression. It's amazing, these little libraries. It was just beautiful. I wanted to come back, and it's a long haul, even from Greenwich. I wanted to come back and just sit there and read the papers. It was beautiful.
This is filling me with such joy. And then another thing that I think is starting to influence how libraries are seen in the community and how the community sees the library. A minimum standard is a community-based plan of service. So the library really needs to be talking to the community so that they're partners with the whole community rather than the library just standing alone, which was an older model. It was wonderful. It was wonderful, even putting on the 200 miles in less than 7 hours. It was just wonderful. And the hospitality we were shown was wonderful. We all didn't get the cider, And we also declined the peaches.
Yeah.
They're still in our library if you want them.
Well, you know, they're not in season at this point,
That was last week.
but even that, I mean,
They were
the
the
best in
last
August.
two left on the trees.
There were 2 left in Crandall.
That's it. That was the end of it.
That was the end of it.
Season.
The end of the season.
I would just add that it's a real opportunity to have NYLA's state conference here. And both Chris Connell and I were there for all 3 days. And it was a terrific conference.
Carol
Our
was there
own
too.
Sarah was basically helping to spearhead the whole censorship and freedom of inquiry track, which I followed all the way through. And I just thought it was really good. And also Janet's library hosted another little field trip for people who are interested in friends groups and also seeing how you interact with the community. So that was not a long walk over from the hotel to the Saratoga Springs Library. So I thought we did ourselves proud. And I also thought that the state organization was really on the ball. All of their workshops were good. It was really well organized.
So folks, it's here again next year.
Yes.
Oh.
So plan to go,
Go.
please.
And thanks to our efforts of our treasurer and our director, we have a nice balance so that your conference fees will be taken care of. So I'm sure Chris does too. I'd recommend it. It was very useful. Sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you. I'm just on the committee. I didn't do a whole lot with the intellectual freedom track, but thank you for that shout out. But it was a group of people. What I did learn though, for me, my takeaway was 2 of the programs I went to. Everybody talks about Hamilton and what Hamilton has done. The real hero, according to the 2 programs I went to, was Ben Franklin.
Yes.
They called him a flawed man, but brilliant. And that he was part of the intellectual freedom breakfast at the end. A woman named Lori Holst Anderson, who is a banned author. She was there and she spoke
She was
about her
outstanding.
book.
Speak.
She was outstanding.
Yeah, you were there too. It was pretty wonderful. It was
I
pretty.
got a chance to talk to her in the lobby afterwards too.
Oh,
And
good.
she was happy to come up here, but if you have any children, more likely in my vintage grandchildren, she does American history books that are a little off the beaten track and have some graphic illustrations with them for young children and young adults. And there's one that's just all of the contributions all the women made to the Revolutionary War, which is what I thought was very interesting. So she was interesting to talk to, and her presentation was great.
What was her name again?
Lori, Halse Anderson. So that was fun. Now onto some not so fun. There have been some burps in the delivery services for a variety of reasons, but Pamela is working with Arnoff to ensure the high quality of service continues that we and both we and our members expect. So that's later in the meeting, we're going to talk about variances. That's under new business. And I just wanted to give a little background. A variance is when a library doesn't meet the minimum standards. There's a procedure that the library fills out a form and the SALS board reviews it, and they're granted a variance by New York State. And there has to be in the variance how they're going to meet the standard. And I just so really, there are only 3 libraries out of 34 that didn't meet the minimum standards. The first one is the Hudson Falls Free Library, and they don't have a community-based plan of service. They've got excuses, but they don't have their plan of service. And in the variance, they talk about beginning in December to December 2022. They have a timeline, and by June of 2023, they are going to have a variance. And I'm gonna
You
recommend
mean a plan of service?
a plan of service to meet the variance. So they'll have one before the end. Thank you, Jordan, before the end of 2023. I was thinking about the years to make sure they're right, and I got the name of the form wrong. So we're gonna I'm recommending that the board approve that. The second one is Fort Edward. And if anybody knows, and there are some new board members, Vicky Plowd is the director of the Fort Edward Free Library, and she is a powerhouse. She is amazing. But Division of Library Development said to meet minimum standards, she needs to have a certain level of education. So she's been taking a course, a semester. And what we're doing is we're continuing saying, yes, we support having Vicky in place, and that she is working towards her AAS degree. And so I'm recommending that you all approve that variance. And then the third library is Stillwater, and this is a repeat from past years. The Stillwater Public Library is currently housed in a building that's a former church. And the children's room is where the altar used to be. And seriously, I don't think the library is much bigger than this room and the room behind you. And it's not exactly, it was never built to be handicapped accessible. The library board and staff have been working, and I'm proud to announce that they're projecting that their new library will be open December 2023. And it'll meet all of the minimum standards that way. So they're actively working on it, and I'm recommending that the Stillwater also be granted a variance to meet minimum standard. Yeah.
In a different place.
It's a different
Yeah.
place. If you know Stillwater, the library was this cute little church. And then there's the Block Fort. Block House. And then there was a factory on the other side of it. They're the new factory.
That's great.
And they're working with Butler, Rowland, and Mays to make a beautiful library for that community. So I just wanted to give you a little background, and I had a little more time to share.
So Sarah, when these three libraries meet the minimum standards within the next few years, right? Is that what we're saying? Then all of the libraries in our district will be
Meeting minimum
meeting
standards,
minimum standards.
unless they change the minimum standards, then we get to do the whole thing again.
That's great, because now you have, everybody will be on board and,
Standardization.
right.
I like that reframe. I like that. But they have been working, and some of these things can't happen overnight.
Sure.
And again, I want to thank Pamela for coordinating all of the paperwork and the correspondence back and forth. I'm happy to report that Saratoga County has included SALS funding in its 2023 draft budget. I saw it. It wasn't the 55,000 that we were asked to apply for, so we're gonna ask, how did we get a reduction when we were told to apply? But it is it's just good to be in the budget, and we're keeping our eye on it so we don't have the same issue as we had this year. We don't want to relive that. And we are very happy to say that I have a tentative meeting in December to meet with the Board of Supervisors, either to say, why aren't we in the budget? Which I don't expect, or thank you for including us in the budget, which I'm hoping that we get. So the Hamilton County and the Washington County representatives, you can make a quick call to make sure that we're in the budget. Nancy, I'm looking at you. That we're in the Hamilton County budget for next year.
I was just sending an email to the budget officer to see. Our local town supervisor, who has been working hard on it, on the budget, is in the Dominican Republic right now on vacation. And so I will definitely reach out to both of them and find out where we are.
I really appreciate it very much, Nancy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He reached out to Jim, but he never got back to me, but I'll try again.
Okay. Washington County does not fund libraries, and Bob, you said they passed a resolution or a motion that they don't fund.
Several years ago, they don't fund any not-for-profits except for cooperative extension.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't mean they can't,
No, I know. It's yeah, all right.
because they used to years
So they
ago.
used to get more.
So just, that's a little bit of background. I have another real, there was a day I got all of this great news. I received a notice that we got a grant and aid from Assembly Member Matt Simpson. He's up in the Grant Lake, Horicon area, and he has been such a supporter for libraries. I wrote him a very, I thought, gracious thank you note, but I hand wrote a thank you note for him being an advocate for libraries and funding libraries. He had been the town supervisor of Horicon, town of Horicon, and he shared the office, the library had a space in the town office building, so that was fun. The Robert's Rules of Order webinar was very well received, and please take home your copies of the abridged Robert's Rules, revised abridged Robert's Rules of Order. And I sent you an email, you haven't checked your email today, with Adrian Stratton, who's the parliamentarian, answered all the questions that people had. And I learned something new. Michelle Largetoe, who is the head of our IT staff, or as we know it as Joint Automation, are setting up an informational meeting for all trustees and public library directors in our system regarding cyber insurance. People have been asking questions that I'm just not able to answer, nor is Michelle. So we're going to have this webinar in the next few weeks, and it will be taped for people who can't. I guess it's not taped, it's recorded. So people who are not available at the time can view it. One of the things that I've been really pushing, and with the help of Michelle Largetoe and Chris Mundell of the JA staff, I am happy to say that phishing training will happen. It's either going to happen in December or January, and it's going to be annual because there's always turnover of staff in our libraries. And I think the biggest security risk is somebody very well-meaning hitting the wrong link. And that's where some of the only word I can think of is mishgas. Will happen and that's Yiddish for mischief or whatever. Any questions of me? Hearing none, Jack, you're on.
Okay, let me just share my screen here. So Sarah, you mentioned great news, and I'm going to mention the great give back. As soon as this goes into presentation.
I'm just so impressed with our member libraries and all that they were doing. And I didn't know if you were aware of the great give back.
Yeah, so I'll give you a short little slideshow about the Great Give Back. So the Great Give Back began with the Suffolk Cooperative Library System and the Nassau Library System. And the mission of the Great Give Back is to provide a day of opportunity for the patrons of public libraries in New York State to participate in meaningful service-oriented experiences. And so in all of New York State, there were over 300 libraries that participated this year. In SALS, there were 9 specific libraries that participated. Some partnered and some did individual pieces. So Bancroft, which is this photograph here, did a Eat, Read, and Be Scary. Clifton Park worked with the VA Medical Center and the Albany VA Fisher House. Crandall worked with Moon Bee Workshop to provide feminine hygiene products for girls and women around the world. Easton worked, joined up with Greenwich, and they provided warm hearts and warm toes, so gloves and socks for local people. Galway had 2 events, one sewing open house, and they also made cards. They had people make handmade cards for soldiers to send home. Schuylerville did a fall food drive, and Stillwater did a pet supply drive. And I didn't get a lot of pictures, but that I have one from the Scare and Read, which was kind of cool, where all the kids dressed up in costumes and came and got books and some cider and some food. And this image here, the top image is from Schuylerville, their fall food drive, and the image on the left is from Clifton Park. So they worked with the VA Medical Center and the Albany Fisher Home. They provided 13 boxes, which included personal care items, paper goods, hats, gloves, mittens, underwear, sweatpants, and flannel shirts. And so we just wanted to share some of the great things that member libraries are doing, and hopefully more participate next year in the Great Give Back.
What date was that?
What date was it, Jack?
I think it's set for October 15th, but really it's something that it doesn't necessarily happen on October, doesn't have to happen on October 15th. Many of the libraries do it for a month-long thing, or, Bancroft did it, I think, the day before Halloween or on Halloween. So they set the date for October 15th, but most people don't adhere to that specific date. And people do all sorts of things across New York State. So there's like those mitten drives, pet supply drives. Sometimes it's a local cleanup at a river or a beach. It's there's a lot of different things that people have done, the libraries in their communities have done.
I just thought we needed good news.
And some good pictures, right? That picture of that kid dressed up with a mustache was too perfect.
It was pretty scary. Thank you, Jack. Any questions? We're done with the director's report.
Okay. Let's move on then to no JA report this month.
I write more than anybody wants to read.
Right, in the direct, yeah, I will direct you to the director's report. It was actually, I went through it a little bit. Let's move on to committee reports.
Oh, unless there's something you want to report from the JA council meeting you attended.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Janet, audit and finance.
Nothing.
Okay. Chris, building.
Sarah already explained the situation with the 2023 SALS construction grant, so
Okay, very good.
I didn't think it under that.
Anything for bylaws?
Not at this time.
Nice to see you back.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any of you county aid coordinators wish to say anything? Okay, other than the just would say that it wouldn't hurt for those of us that are in Saratoga County if we have a line to either our town or county supervisors to mention it to them too. Right. Library services.
No, nothing.
Okay, Carol, thank you. Personnel again,
Nothing.
all right. And trustee nominating.
Still keeping ears open for
Right,
Hamilton County.
Still keep looking.
And Russ, you missed, Central
Yes.
Library Aid and
Oh,
Services. I
yeah,
have no report anymore.
library services.
Kathy and I are working on a date
Okay, that's good.
to meet.
Oh, Central Library, yes, sorry, and, yeah, right, okay. Okay, I don't think we have any unfinished business. Now let's move on to new business, letter of engagement.
We received a letter of engagement from UHY. I don't know if it was in everybody's packet or not, but if it wasn't, it's basically the normal scope of the audit. This is the company that has been doing our audit for a few years now. It also explains what our responsibilities are internally within the organization and what they're going to do with the audit. And most importantly, how much it's going to cost. It has gone up. Last year, we paid a total of $7,672. This year, and each year they estimate what the amount is going to be, and then there's a 2.5% administrative fee on top of that, and they're estimating 8,000 plus the 2.5, which would be 8,200, which is an increase of $528, and that's a 6.8% increase in with what wages had been doing. That wasn't surprising. I know at one point there was talk of, maybe we should move to a different auditing firm. And that was addressed back in the June meeting when they came, well, they did it remotely, but did a remote presentation about their quality control, and that there's a new, they moved the partner that is in charge around, and we have a different partner in charge now. And, then it goes from here to a quality control department at their corporate headquarters for them to look at. So I don't think that, in my estimation, that's not really a problem where you're getting too close to who the auditors are. And it does make the work on this end much less when you don't have to train a new person as to where everything is and how we do things. And so I guess for us, we need the board to approve or not
Right.
approve.
Right.
That's going with UHY.
You want to offer it from your finance committee?
I guess so. I mean, so just make, pardon?
You could, it's not coming from the committee.
Pardon?
This isn't coming from the committee because the committee never met.
Right.
Okay.
So anybody
So
can make the
anybody can
motion,
make it.
and you'll need a
All
second.
right. Could I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Jordan, can I have a second?
Second it.
Janet will second it. Any discussion, any questions? I seem to remember too that we did some preliminary investigation, and even though there was an increase, as there is in a lot of things these days, that it was within the
It's
within the ballpark of what we might get someplace else. too.
And I can also tell you from the standpoint of not-for-profits trying to get auditors.
Yeah.
A lot of the firms are backing off from wanting to do them because they don't feel they can make enough money. So they're having a tough time even getting various CPA firms to even bid.
We had that situation in Waterford.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, now we have a set of forms. We've got to do them separately. First one we have is from Fort Edward. And I'll need a motion for that. That also, I don't believe is from a committee. Okay, Elaine, is there a second? Seconded by Sue.
Sure.
Any discussion? Any questions?
This is the education requirements for
Right,
the
for the
director.
director. Correct, thanks for clarifying that. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And we have Hudson Falls. And briefly,
That is to have their community-based plan of service done by June of 2023.
okay. Could I have a motion, please? Margaret, is there a second? Seconded by Barbara. Any discussion, any questions?
Do we have any recourse if it isn't?
If libraries don't, well, one thing is our $20,000, almost $20,000 is held up until we, as the board, send in the variances and DLD approves them. But the second thing, if this isn't met, the library has the, can lose its registration. And by losing a library's registration, it means they can't accept any public money. So I think that's a big carrot.
Yeah.
And the stick all in one.
Yeah, well, because I mean, the plan of service didn't sneak up on anybody, didn't know it's gonna come in.
Oh, they, and the library should have a plan of service.
Right, regardless, yeah. So I just thought since they waited, but we're sure they're gonna follow through.
Erica is on it, right, Erica?
That's right.
So I have one question about plan of service. I think ours might say to 2023. Are we obligated then to redo another one? Ooh, let's go.
Good reminder. Okay, any further questions or discussion? All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries, and then we have Stillwater.
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second it, Linda Borden.
this has to do with the relocation and everything.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. All right, any questions? All right, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries as well. Thank you. Is there any other new business? Okay, seeing none, is there director's council report?
They're meeting. When are they meeting? This week, the 16th. They're meeting on the 16th.
Tomorrow morning.
Oh, they're meeting tomorrow morning.
All right. Okay. At our next meeting. It's hard to believe it'll be 2023, January 17th, back here at 1 o'clock. Any other comments?
We have 100% attendance today.
I know,
Wow.
fantastic. Just a technical question, because we have the quorum, the people that are by Zoom are also counted as well, so,
Correct.
okay. That's the way we're doing it in Clifton Park. too.
And they have voting privileges, because last night in Argyle, they were saying that people that were serving did not have voting privileges.
If there's a quorum face to face, they have voting privileges. But if you don't have a quorum face to face, there is no voting.
The other key element, and Linda finally was able to get full communication. The
Yes.
other element that precedes anything about libraries, it has to do with any public meeting. You have to be able to see the person as well as hear them. So merely calling in on the phone is not enough. But Zoom is, I mean, just one of the things about the pandemic. If your particular library has it in the bylaws that you can have a mixed meeting, you have to have the people on site for a quorum. You have to have it in your policies that.
Right, that's the key though. is that
Right.
Some of the libraries evidently
They've
didn't
chosen
do
not
that.
to. There's a temporary change in the open meeting law that is allowing people
Right.
to,
For now.
without giving their address. And the process is the library, as you said, has to vote for it. They also have to hold a public hearing
Right.
before they vote to have the,
So they haven't done that. That's- Saratoga hasn't done that, I know.
Right. Like the rest of our meetings,
It's
should
not-
very
it's not
possibly would hold a
mandatory.
a public meeting and nobody else will participate except the board. So, but it's just a step that you have to go through. Okay, good question. Any other discussion or questions? Okay, thank you all.
don't leave without filling out your
Right, we
mileage.
were adjourned at 1:42. Just turned to 1:43.
And next year, if you see on the forms, there's no place for name, it's just your signature. I think Pamela and Colleen said, we're gonna redo the form, so you print your name. Okay.
Yes,
Alright.
I
Yeah.
already edited it, so at the top of it, it'll say your name. Cause I can't read everybody's signature. Mine included, but from, this year, if you sign it and you use a signature, I can't read it, you just write your name at the top, but the 2023 form will have a place for it at the top.
Colleen, next month is your year anniversary.
December 1st is my 1-year anniversary. Very exciting.
Evelyn, when's your anniversary?
January 4th, I believe.
Better by the next meeting.
That's trial by fire.
Meanwhile, Erica and Jack are wondering, how do I get out of here?
They just,
No, there's no getting rid of, you can try spraying and everything. Nope, not going
Like
anywhere.
Hotel California, you can never leave.
Okay, thank you all. Be sure you get a cookie before you leave.
When we get it on the next.
Yeah.